My name's Kathryn Mather. I am a stand-up comedian, and I'm doing a show called Scream Inside Your Heart at the Three Sisters in the Wee Room at 12 noon.
Okay, so tell me a little bit about yourself, Kathryn. Is this your first time at the Fringe?
Well, kind of. It's the first time I've done my own show at the Fringe. So I've been doing stand-up for about 7 years. But I came up in about, I think it's 2018 with, I don't know if you've heard of Best in Class. They're a working class collective. So that was the first year that they ran, was in 2018. And I came up for a week. And that was great. Like, it was brilliant to be able to just sort of did 20-minute sets. And it was nice to be able to just do the festival for a bit.
What are you doing to get people into your show?
I've been doing a lot of guest spots and things because that helps. I prefer doing them because people have seen you a bit, so they know what you're about a bit more, rather than just handing people a flyer in the street. Although I have been doing that as well. I managed to pay for one big poster, which is outside Bar 50.
So in terms of posters, actually, I was chatting with someone yesterday who's coming to the Fringe, and they were like, so who hangs posters and how do you get them done? Could you tell us a little bit about, I think it's sort of a tiered pricing system, isn't it?
Yeah, so I got mine done. So I'm at a Laughing Horse venue, so they had certain areas that they just sort of sent an email and said, we can put your poster up. So that's how I got mine. I think that there's a company that does all of the street ones and you sort of pay for them and you get packages and things. My room is so small, I wasn't actually sure whether it would be worth doing that. So if I was doing a bigger venue, absolutely, I think that it would be worth it. But and part of me wishes that I kind of had, at this point, maybe paid a little bit and got a couple more of the posters just knocking about the city a bit more, because I think if people see posters everywhere, then they're more likely to come. Inside the venues, I think that you can ask the venue to put them up. I didn't. I just put my own up inside the venue.
And do you find people, venues around Edinburgh receptive to you putting up posters? Have you tried that?
So I've just sort of been going to the venues that are under Laughing Horse, because I think it's a bit cheeky, really, going into other ones. I've seen people put up posters in other venues, and you're like, that's not cool, is it? You know.
And how is it going so far? I mean, we're probably around halfway, maybe now. Yeah.
I think it's about 2/3 for me, because as I say, I'm only doing the three weeks. It's been going well overall. It's I've not had a bad show yet, touch wood. You know, I've sold it out a couple of times, which has been wonderful. I did it to one man. I gave him the option to come back another day. I didn't perform. Yeah. I'm going to perform this at you, whether you like it or not. But it's such a roller coaster because, I did sort of 10 hours of promotion one day. Just going down the streets, flyering, doing guest spots. So I was exhausted by the end of it, and then got one person in the day after. And then the day after that, I was like, I'm just going to rest because I've done too much, and filled the room.
And what is your tip to someone who's thinking about bringing their show up here this year? Oh, well, too late this year. Next year.
I think free Fringe is the way to go, especially if you're doing it the first time, because it's the financial loss is a lot less. Order your flyers and posters very early, so that they definitely come to you in time. Have a look around all the rooms. There are pictures of them online and things, but it's difficult to try, because, for example, one might be a really hot room, or one, if you're doing a show where you're expecting a lot of people who've got access needs, and then it's up a big spiral staircase, then you bug it, aren't you? So it's just sort of know what the venues are like, so you know what you're going into. Have realistic expectations of what you want, because I know so many people come up and they're like, I'm going to win Best Newcomer, and you're not, and that's not me just being negative. There are 3,000 shows here, but I think it's so easy to come here and see people who are your peers, who are in bigger venues, because maybe they got an agent that could put them in a bigger venue, or they've got street advertising because there was a grant this year that went round. I applied for it, I didn't get it, but a lot of brilliant acts did, and they could afford to get street advertising. And it doesn't mean that they're better than you, it just means that their circumstances are different. So you have to, don't compare yourself to what other people are doing. Stick to your goals of what you wanted, and then only compare yourself against yourself. Am I better than when I got here? And yeah, just be realistic.
So one recommendation of a show that you've seen?
Louise Atkinson, she's doing brilliantly. Her show Mates, which is about mates. She's at the Gilded Balloon. She's brilliant.
Can you give us sort of an estimate of what you think people should set aside if, say, they are bringing a show to the Fringe? If you're willing to share that information, that's totally up to you.
So I think honestly accommodation is going to be your biggest thing. So I've done it on a shoestring, and have been lucky enough to sort of get a little bit of help from other sort of bursaries and things as well. It still cost me sort of I'd say just over £2,000 to be here. So that's including accommodation. On the free fringe, it is free, but you have to pay a little bit for sort of room hire, which is, you know, considerably less than if you're at a big one. So, you know, I don't feel bad saying like that. And then, you know, you've got, if you want any advertising, if you've got posters, they can be quite expensive. If you want a technician, which honestly, a lot of people don't. And I think that that is quite important, because if your show doesn't sound good or look, like, if people can't see you or hear you, it doesn't matter how good you are. Like, I haven't paid for flyers, but the going rate at the minute is sort of £15 to £20 an hour. So if you want one or two flyers, which I believe do pay for themselves eventually, and then obviously time off work, eating here, it does add up quite quickly. But yeah, I'd say if you're doing free fringe, bottom end, I reckon maybe a couple of grand. If you're deciding to go all in and you want PR, you want a big venue, all of that, you could be into the sort of tens of thousands very, very easily.
Thank you so much for your time. Yeah, that's really helpful. Thank you, Kathryn.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.